Tetris is one of the greatest games ever made. Now, I know that's a pretty obvious statement to say, like, humans need water to survive, or Lanfer Pugili Guguri Shinubli Santi Sirio Gogogog is a town in Wales. But despite Tetris being one of the most recognizable and addictive games of all time, many people rarely talk about it, like why? I mean, what's there to talk about? You arrange shapes on a grid to form lines on said grid. Once you complete a line, it clears itself and it gives you points. Repeat until you lose. Which is possibly the greatest hook any video game has ever had. The hook! It's an important key in making a player feel interested in your game. I consider a hook in gaming to be a gameplay mechanic or a part of a story that wants a player to keep going, that makes a player go, oh yeah, I wanna keep playing this! Oh yeah, I don't wanna keep playing this! And I feel like no other game has a hook as unique as Tetris has. It's immediately understandable. There's no tutorial because you don't need a tutorial. You get the gist of the game immediately as it starts. This is what makes Tetris so appealing to everyone. That constant release of dopamine when you clear lines is only made greater by a feature I believe every Tetris version has. Which is gradually speeding up the rate at which each tetronymal falls. This is a second key that makes Tetris' hook so addicting that dog is barking! This is a second key that makes Tetris' hook so addicting to play in my opinion. It pressures you to think fast, to arrange blocks in the quickest and the most effective way possible. And I feel like this is also why the game is not really seen as a casual focused game. That is, a game that appeals mainly towards dirty casuals, rather than the average gamer girl. Tetris can appeal to those types of hardcore, yes mother, I slept 5 minutes past my bedtime, what can you do about it? Nothing, because I'm a gamer, types of gamers. Now, how do I know this? Just look at this. What even is going on? The only thing I can process by that point is the music. And oh man, the Tetris theme slaps hard. It's an iconic theme. A theme so iconic, it wasn't even theirs. It was an arrangement of a classic Russian folk song. But you know what? If it works, and it makes one of the most recognizable gaming tunes of all time. In the graphics department, Tetris... it exists. However, some editions of Tetris can get pretty interesting with the presentations. For example, Tetris 99 has different backgrounds that you can choose from, and Tetris DS has Nintendo-themed backgrounds. Like, the developers of some editions of Tetris put more effort into their backgrounds than the developers of some puzzle games of the App Store put into their game in general. And I think this combination of elements is what makes Tetris so relevant up until this very day. Despite nowadays being a time there are hundreds upon hundreds of puzzle games you can download from the App Store and the Play Store right now. Many of these games rarely ever set the world on fire. And that's mainly because most of the games just don't feel unique. Many of them just straight up feel like copies of each other. Some of them are actually copies of each other. But Tetris is different. From the start, Tetris has always felt unique. And it's that one game that no other game on this genre has been able to replicate in success or in gameplay mechanics. And forgetting about puzzle games, there are some hardcore games that are surprisingly less fun to play than Tetris. Many of these games are super epic adventures that, don't get me wrong, are fantastic games that have so much attention put into them. But sometimes they're not as fun to play throughout as Tetris is. Many of these other games can have areas that are not as fun to play as others. But Tetris is always consistently fun. Every time you lose, you don't want to stop playing, because the hook in the game is so effective and so fun. And this is why I still consider Tetris to be one of the greatest games ever made. It's simple, but it's a fun kind of simple. It's not a type of simplicity that brings an experience down, but rather, it is a type of simplicity that Tetris has used to its advantage and has made it one of the most unique and fun experiences of all time. Thank you for watching. I don't know how to do outro.